Welcome to this video. In this video I would like to show and explain to you how you can integrate ABAP and ChatGPT with the OpenAI API. So basically how you can use ChatGPT within ABAP. It's basically kind of like simple. So basically in order to use the OpenAPI you have to register at the OpenAI developer platform to basically get an API key that is needed within ABAP to use the OpenAI API. After that, basically, you're going into the SAP system to create a destination within the transaction SM59, and within that you're using the SSL certificate. If you have not installed the OpenAI certificate, then you have to do this, and you also can get this over the OpenAI developer platform. Once you've done all those prerequisites, then you get into ABAP, and there you are basically first of all creating your payload consisting or including also your prompt that you're gonna ask ChatGPT to get the response. After that, after creating the payload, then you're basically calling the request over your developer API key. Within calling there, you're using the created destination to get the response, and then basically you can process the response. So you can basically output, you can use the response in some follow-up processes, but this is how you can basically do this. And all those steps I've mentioned here within the overview, I will explain it directly within the system. So I've made also some time steps that you can jump if you have already a developer key, so you directly see what kind of coding is needed and so on. So by said this, enjoy this video and let's get started. The first and the most important step in order to use ChatGPT, so OpenAI within ABAP, is to register at the OpenAI developer platform, and therefore you will register and to get your API key. Basically, this is very important that you have an account within here to use one of the proposed models. In our case, we will see we're using the GPT-4o mini model. But basically, sign up, register, and get your API keys within here. This is the most important step and your first step at all. The next step is basically to set up a destination to the OpenAI platform, and this is being done within your SAP system. Here right now I'm using the ABAP Cloud Try 2022 SP01 version, so if you would like to use this as well, I will link the corresponding video explaining you the needed steps. So as mentioned, first of all we're going into the SM59 transaction, and then you have to choose HTTP connections to external server, and then we are going to create, because this is what we're gonna do. Then here, for example, I will enter set OpenAI destination as a destination type, as mentioned, HTTP connection to external server, because that is what we're gonna do, because we would like to connect to the OpenAI server over the API. Here, for example, you can enter a short description, so for example, OpenAI destination, or you could also OpenAI API, whatever you want to. Then the host, it's called api.openai.com. The port is 443, and the path prefix is /v1/chat/completions. This is important. Then basically we're going to log on and security. Here, do not use a user, do not send logon ticket, and this is also fine. If we're scrolling down, this is important because we're trying to connect over 443. It's important to use the SSL, in this case the default one. We will see in a couple of seconds that you also have to make sure that your OpenAI certificate is up to date, but I will show you this. So then this is also fine. Special options. Here, this is fine. HTTP 1.1, compression inactive, compressed response no. So, and then you click on the save to basically have your destination saved. As mentioned, under logon and security, we're currently using the default SSL client certificate. If I, for example, would do a connection test, then this is failing, and this is failing by purpose or maybe by mistake, because the SSL certificate is not available within my SAP system. So yeah, go once again into your OpenAI developer platform, get the SSL certificate, and then import them into the SAP system. So get it from here. So if we're going back into the SAP system, then we would like to import the downloaded certificate, and therefore we're going to the transaction as trust. And here, once again, we've selected SSL client standard. If I double click and now go into the edit mode, and here we can scroll down basically to import the certificate. And now I will select the downloaded certificate. So I will open this up. Yes, fine. And then here you have to click to add to certificate list. So you've added this, and if we scroll here down, then we can see that there the certificate is available and we can use this. Of course, we have to save our changes. And now if we're going once again into our destination in the SM59, once again to HTTP connections to external server, this one, and do now a connection test. Now this is working perfectly fine. We are able to log into the OpenAI developer platform with our credentials. So this is fine. Okay. So now we've made sure that we have an API key. We have successfully set up the destination, and we have successfully installed the SSL certificate. The next one, what we're going to do is basically now we are coding our changes in ABAP. So therefore we're going into the SE24 transaction. You can also do this via a function module within the SE37 or within the ABAP editor with the SE38. What you prefer, I personally made it over a class. And basically what is important here, if I go to display, then under attributes, here I have created a global variable, a class variable with a type string, and here I have entered my my global API key. So yeah, you can also do this. You can directly enter your API key within your coding, but basically this is important to use the API, the Open API over this key, because this is your identification basically. Let's get to the methods. I have basically created 4 different methods. The method that is being executed is the method called call OpenAI API. This is public, and the other 3 methods are basically just some helper methods to build the payload, to send the request to the OpenAI API, and then to output the content. So this is basically one method to process the response. You can also do whatever you want to, whatever is needed, but these 2 methods, or the logic within the methods, this is mandatory. So let's go to call OpenAI. What am I doing within here? So let's briefly explain it to you. So basically here I have set up the prompt. So this prompt basically will send to ChatGPT, and then I will get the corresponding response. So here I would like to get the 5 biggest cities in the world, and I would like to have them separated by comma. And just a very important hint on that side. So here right now we are working within the SAP system. You have to work within internal tables with variables and all those stuff. If you are not precise enough within your prompt, then you will also get an explanation or some phrases from ChatGPT that might not be needed. So really be careful not to get some explanations, to get a text that is not needed, because otherwise you would have to filter it. Really be precise, test this up front after or before going into productive, of course, to really make sure that you're getting the structure, the response you want to have. Then basically I'm doing, as mentioned, those 3 tasks. First of all, I'm going to build the payload for the request, so all the header, all the information. Then basically I'm calling the OpenAI API, so I'm sending the response, and then I'm processing the given response. So so first of all, let's get into the first method, build payload request, and here I'm basically handing over the prompt to build the payload. So let's get into, and here basically I am building my payload. So as mentioned at the beginning, I'm using the GPT-04 mini model, and here within messages I have the role as the user, and within content I am putting my content, and with max tokens I would have maximum 100 tokens to just limit this to be sure. And then basically, I'm just concatenating those strings together in a JSON, and then returning it to the other method, to the called method. So then within here I have the payload. Then within here I am actually requesting my prompt, my payload. So let's get into here. So here I'm doing a couple of steps. The first one is basically that I am creating the HTTP client. So here I'm calling the CL HTTP client class and the method create by destination, and here we have the created destination in the transaction SM59, so the set OpenAI destination, and then we're getting a object of the client that we are using to send the request. Then if I scroll down, then basically I am setting or declaring the request header. So here basically as the content type, as mentioned, it's a JSON. And then based on the authorization, I'm using the BIRA, and here I'm using my API developer key, my created key that you also can get once again within the OpenAI developer platform. So once again, sign up, register to get your API key within here. So that is what I'm gonna use, and then basically I would like to send the request, so I need to use the post method, and then once again here I am setting the payload in the data to have it within here. And then within here, I'm making the actual request, so the HTTP post request. And if everything works fine, then I would like also to receive the response. So here you are doing some error handlings. So basically, if there would be any error, then this would be within here. And if everything works fine, then basically I'm just processing the response. And if there is an actual response, so the body is not initial, then I'm doing this. And if there is an error. If it's empty, then I'm sending this also as a feedback. Okay, then here we have basically the response. Then the next step is that basically I would like to output the content. We can also see this within the debugger there, but here I would like to process the response. And in my case, if we go within here, I am first of all would like to deserialize the JSON to a string basically. And then you have a nested structure. So within the response, you have a table called the choices. And because I have one response basically given me the top 5 cities, then there's also the message. And then I would like to process the content because I'm quite sure that there is only one choice. I would directly use the one. You could also loop over the choice if you have multiple choices. So this depends on you basically. So, but if I would execute this, so F8, so then execute this. So then ChatGPT will give me the 5 biggest cities. So Tokyo, Delhi, Shanghai, Sao Paulo, and Mexico City. And I would also like to show you this within the debugger, what is basically happening. So do this once again, execute this, and let's go through it with F6. Okay, too much. So let's do this once again. F8, this was by mistake. So once again here, so F6. So basically here we have still our prompt. And then with F5, we're going into, then the JSON is being built. So within LV payload, here we have basically our JSON. And here in the content, we have basically the prompt itself. So then F6, F6, and then here the request will be made, so F5, and here it will create the destination. So this is our client basically. So this worked perfectly fine. And then within here, basically, as mentioned, the client is prepared, and here the actual request will be made, and this went fine. And we have a response that is not initial, so this also worked perfectly fine. And if we now go to LV response, and then here basically we can see about the response. And here once again under choices, this is a array basically with index starting from 0, and under message there you have once again role from the assistant, not from the user right now, and under content, that is what we need right now. Then going back to standard, so to F5 to show you this basically. So we're not deserializing this, and here under content, okay, you can't get this, so let's try out this one. And here now you're having the values that you need. So then F6, and now this will be output. So let's get out of this. And what I would like to show you, once again in output content, here basically at the beginning I have defined a lot of types. This is needed basically to catch the structure, so with role, content, refusal, index, message, and so on, to basically get our choices. And here index, message, and stuff like that. So this is one way that you can also use to build your own structure, your types that you can use if you would like to extract the JSON. Of course, this is just one approach. You can also do other ones. So for example, you can directly ask ChatGPT to give you another format that you prefer, that you want, but this is basically a possibility. So, and yeah, if you have any questions left, please put them in the comment sections. Please like this video and please subscribe to not miss great upcoming videos. Thank you so much, and then see you in the next video.